composers, Mike here. You can actually add a negative delay to your tracks or individual regions in Logic Pro X. This is an amazing way of aligning the main hit points of any instruments and sounds in your mix. Let me show you how right now. I will also give you a bonus tip in the end of this video. Alright, so track and region delay is an amazing feature in Logic Pro X that many people don't really know about. And I will show you why by playing you this short example I composed. Alright, so I stopped there to demonstrate what I'm talking about here. I'm sure you have seen this on other videos showing you, for example, string parts, brass parts and so on. If I open up this string part here, you can see that the MIDI notes are slightly before in the beat. Why is that? Well, let me explain why. For example, let's say you strum a chord on a guitar. Well, where does that align to the grid? If you start the first string exactly here on the grid, well then after you have strummed all the strings, you will be out of beat. And all guitarists know this and instinctively strum the chord slightly before the beat. And this is true for many instruments in music, which has a short attack time before you truly hear the note. For example, orchestral strings, brass, or even something simple as a tambourine. That's why you see composers and producers aligning the notes on some of their parts and instruments slightly before the grid like this. Well, this is one way of doing it, but you can also use MIDI delay either on the region itself or on the track. So you can actually quantize these notes perfectly to the grid and then instead go into the track inspector and add a delay that is negative. As you can see here, if you click more, you can access the delay on the region when you select it, or you can use it also on the track. So this millisecond you can have a negative delay, which means the notes that are perfectly aligned in the grid will actually be played before the grid, and how much is what you control up here. So it is controlled here in ticks and here in milliseconds. A tick is this tiniest value in time you can have in your sequencer, and if I drag this down, you can even see that when we get to, let's say, 20 ticks is 192 notes, which is super tiny. If I continue to, let's say, 30, we get to 128 notes, and then continue to, let's see, 40 is 196 notes. It's super short. So you can actually have a delay on the region. Let's say we put this on a 96th note. That means all the notes here in this region will be played 196th before the grid. And the other way of doing this is in the track inspector under track, which means all your regions, if you have more than one, like so, for example, all the notes will be played with this delay, which you can put also on a negative value, let's say minus 25, minus 30 milliseconds or whatever. So how much delay or negative delay should you put on these tracks? Well, of course, that depends on the actual sound. Longer sounds with a long attack time, such as slow strings, pads and brass, will require more negative delay to really align up and feel that they are played in time to the grid. Now, I also have a bonus tip for you, because the downside of using the negative delay trick here on the region or track is that when you look at the notes, they will still be at the exact grid lines if you have quantized them like this. Which means it's really tricky to see how far the notes have been shifted. So I actually recommend you to try the other technique, which is to select all notes and then nudge them slightly to the left if they are quantized like this. Which means if you hold down your Option key, Alt key on your computer keyboard, and then press your left arrow key, look what happens. They move ever so slightly. I will need to zoom in for you to see this. So now they are ever so slightly to the left. Hold down Option key or Alt key again and press the arrow to the left. Another step. And these have the default value of each nudge being 10 ticks. So if you look at this entire region, which I already nudged 2 times to the left, you can still barely see that this is misaligned to the left from the grid. So you can actually do this a couple of more times, especially on long attack sounds like soft brass, strings, brass, and so on. Check out my complete video series on Logic Pro X tutorials and tips here on my channel. Learn and master Logic Pro X to boost your music composition and production workflow.